Now, for tonight, I really would like to think that besides the remediation plan, I would like to express that our concern, MDE's concern, always being the protection of public health and the environment. We ensure that the citizens of Chestertown have clean water to drink, ensure that there's no contamination left in the ground. From MDE point of view, we manage over 600 cleanups across the state. So for us, it may be a routine, but it's very special when the water supply is threatened, like in this case it was. And so we're paying special attention. The water for the citizens in Chestertown is safe to drink. I mean, you guys are served by utilities. You get it, the utility publishes a yearly report, confidence report in the newspaper, and I'm sure it's available in utilities. And the data showed that the water is safe to drink, just like in other towns across Maryland and in Baltimore City and elsewhere. And that's part of the federal mandates that they had to produce this report. So that part, I want you to stress that confidence that your water you drink is safe, that nobody knows is here drinking bad water or has any concern from that point of view. So what we're talking about is cleaning up the groundwater, the oil that is in the groundwater, the remaining oil, and ensuring that will never affect the water supply of the town. So we had that common goal. We're going to be discussing the proposed plan with modifications, and especially as MD is going to approve it. I mean, we have made changes to what was submitted to us, and those things are on the website, by the way, if you want to look at it. We believe that the plan is safe, the current plan with our modifications, and I think we'll achieve some of the cleanup goals that we have, which is to ensure that the petroleum is mostly remediated and nothing moves down to affect well number 8. And we think that the plan will give you greater protection in the long run. The pump and treat system that was operating before is not sustainable. Like most treatment systems, it runs its course, and this one runs its course when it's completely removing as much of the petroleum that was there. Just for a little bit of the regulatory overview, and then Chris is going to take over to get into the details. But our mission is to protect public health and the environment, including drinking water supplies. That's what we do every day for a living at MDE. We work with responsible parties. In this case, the hospital is the responsible party. They're being paid every step of the way for everything that goes there. MDE is only the regulatory agency that oversees the plans and approves them, and we review them and we direct them. You need to do this, you need to do that. Our staff works very closely with their consultants saying you need to put additional well here or additional well there. Our staff consists of geologists and inspectors who are very professional, who know this business very well. So we approve the work plans, and it's their job to implement them and pay for it. And that's what we have here.
So the current plan, let me run through this. I don't expect you guys to read this entirely. This is more for my benefit so I don't miss anything. Again, this will be available on our website in this version, and there's also, this is kind of a boiled down version of the letter we sent to the town, to the mayor on July 9th. So, and that is also going to be on our website. Should be tomorrow. All right, so the proposed plan, the pump and treat system will remain on during the entirety of the remediation plan. That's one of the biggest changes from what was initially proposed back in February to where we've resolved things to now. The general idea is we'll take 275 gallons of potable water and a very dilute surfactant concentration. I think it's 0.11% surfactant, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's all that they need to get achievable results, and it's better not to put more in than to put less in. So they're putting a very low level of surfactant in with potable water, and they'll let it sit in these wells for 2 days. And that will allow time for the water to soak and interact with the residual product that's in place. And after 2 days, they'll come back and pump about 3 to 5 times as much liquid out than what they had just put in 2 days prior. And what that does is helps to extract what they dumped in, as well as anything else that's in the surrounding formation. Now, obviously, you have this well coming down. You're going to have some amount of influence into the subsurface outside that radius of the well. And when they're pumping, they're going to affect more than where they've impacted with the first injection. Now, exactly how far out, that depends on a lot of factors. It depends on how much you're extracting, how much you're putting in, what the subsurface lithology is. So the variation is somewhere between, I think, 15 and 25 feet. Dane, is that roughly the range that you're predicting?
It would go out 15 to 25 feet, but when we extract 5 times as much, we'll go out 90 feet.
Okay. So somewhere in between there is what the reality is going to be. And it really depends on a lot of factors. Some can be predicted, some can't be predicted right away. Bottom line is there's going to be residual product, residual oil removed through this process. And it's not just one set, one well, and then move on. What they're going to be doing is addressing, they've got 4 priority zones, and I'll show you where those are. Each one, they're going to basically be putting product, this Ibisol solution into the water, extracting it after 2 days, and running a 24-hour to 48-hour turnaround time of a lab analysis. That analysis will show whether there's still some petroleum to recover or not. If there is, they'll do another treatment of that well, and they'll continue to do that within that priority zone until they achieve the results they're looking for. So it could take several treatments to clear an area of the site. The prediction is anywhere from 3 to 6 months to complete the remediation phase, and then that'll lead into a monitoring phase, which I'll go through in more detail. Quarterly sampling, so every 3 months they will monitor all of the groundwater wells out there. We're going to require them to be sampled again for the TPH-DRO. That's our gross indicator of what's occurring in the subsurface. Volatile organic compounds, those are VOCs, there's things like the benzene, the toluene I talked about earlier. And for surfactants, that's one of the key changes that we're making, key modifications we're making to the proposed plan. We want to be sure that that surfactant that's being introduced is not moving down gradient outside of the hydraulic control. We don't expect that, but that's going to give us an added measure of assurance. And then monthly, as all the lab and field data is collected, it's going to be submitted to the department and I'm sure to the town as well for review. And that will help us guide and help the hospital guide where they're going to go from one point to another throughout the course of this implementation. So then post-remedial monitoring. I think the key thing here is the pump and treat system. We're going to require it stays on until there are no surfactants detected in any of the monitoring wells. With the 4-well pilot test we did last summer, I think it took a month or 2 before there were no detections any longer of surfactants in any of the wells. And we want to make sure with this longer term implementation and more wells being involved, we continue to track that that surfactant is being recovered the way we expect it to. And this is the way we're proposing that be done. Once all the surfactants have been removed, and in consideration of all the other data collected, all the other analytical data, and gauging results, whether there's any product that's been liberated through this process, we don't expect that to any great degree, but it could happen. So there's a lot of factors we need to look at, and we can't predict right now how everything's going to look. But once we have a comfort level that all the surfactants have been removed and all the other data is indicative of allowing a trial system shutdown, we will entertain that and we will provide written notice to the hospital that they're allowed to do that. Okay, so there's a lot of what ifs before we get to that point. And that system will remain in place, just be turned off. And so one of the keys to that, are going to be just how much has been extracted, how much surfactant, if any, is left, how much dissolved phase concentrations we see. And we'll have triggers in place that if we start to see creeping up of certain levels here or there, we will say to the hospital, you need to turn that system back on, and let's regroup and take stock to see where we are with this. So once we've hit that threshold, we're comfortable that they can do a trial system shutdown, we will allow that, and that will begin a period of extended review for at least 1 year. And it may continue longer than that, depending on what the data shows us. And we may get to a point where we need to look at the data and think some more work is needed, or the hospital thinks more work is needed. So this is not the end-all, be-all. It's going to get us really far down the road, hopefully all the way, but we won't know that until we start the trip. So some key points I'm going to go over here, and then I'll open up to questions for HD and I. The pump and treat system is not a long-term solution, but it's going to be useful for some of the short-term goals that I talked about. Basically, during the implementation, making sure we have the hydraulic control that we need, but at some point we need to move forward to where that pump and treat system is no longer required. And that's what this plan is about. The modified version of the hospital's plan that we're prepared to approve, it's going to lead to a significant amount of product being removed out that the pump and treat system can't deal with, and it's going to really enhance the natural biodegradation that's occurring already. There's going to be less material for those bugs to consume by pulling it out in this way. The net benefit will reduce the long-term risk to the town's wells. That's the case because the more material we pull out, the less risk there is to future contamination down gradient. Once completed, there will be a minimum observation time of over a year before any final case closure decisions are made. So we're not even really talking about case closure. I mean, that's obviously the direction we want to go, and that's always the purpose with any of these cleanups, but we're not having that discussion as of yet. If the data indicates more remediation is warranted, then that is where we will direct the case. And as things have shown the past couple of years, the hospitals come to us with plans of how to deal with that. And so we would expect the same if the data shows that that might be necessary. And again, we just want to make sure that everyone knows we're committed to continue communication with the town. And with that, there's a really unruly website here. This is a shortened version. And again, you can Google MDE on the internet. It will help you navigate to this website through land and oil control, and you'll be able to get to these sites. And I'm sure the mayor will be able to post this